Wow.
Okay.
Wait, can I get a pump in?
Yeah. Just do like 800 push-ups. I'm just sitting there watching. That's the start of the
I get back up, I have a nice pump, but I'm like totally out of breath.
You're like, all right, let's start the podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Sound Lodge Podcast, also known as the Lodge Podcast.
We get a little goofy on this podcast.
You can't take us anywhere. We're so silly.
Dude, we were talking about things to mention. Mustache is gone.
Oh, yeah, that's very true.
Mustache is gone. I'm now 12 years old.
Yeah.
Feel,
aged negative 5 years.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it being gone?
It feels nice, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it feels nice. It feels freeing.
Mm-hmm. You can't go like this anymore, though.
I know. It's losing sunlight, or it doesn't have sunlight. So when I first shaved it off, it looked really weird. It was like
very white.
Yeah. The good thing is that we're in the winter, so it wasn't much different. But
true.
Yeah,
it's been cold also. Actually, just yesterday or today, this morning.
It has
pretty
been cold.
cold.
Yeah,
it was like 4 degrees or something this morning. Pretty chilly out there. I think there's been cold pretty much everywhere. There's a little polar vortex coming through.
Yeah, New Orleans is like fully submerged in snow.
Yeah,
which is pretty crazy.
The snow down there was crazy. I saw Ross's story. That was nutty how much snow they had. But yeah, other than that, how nothing crazy's been really going on. TikTok was gone. Everybody
TikTok's banned.
Freaked out about it for about 6 hours, and then it came back, and they're like, "Hey guys, never mind." Actually, what are the odds on that being completely all a publicity stunt? My thing is like, I feel like it's so textbook.
I don't think TikTok.
It's such a textbook publicity stunt, but who does it benefit though? Because everybody already uses TikTok.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they needed a publicity stunt, and it was like there was a lot of U.S. Supreme Court stuff, so that'd be a pretty crazy. Publicity stunt.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, there was real documents and shit.
Let's tiptoe the edge of actually getting banned, just so we can be a little bit. TikTok is huge. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it helped their user base though, without a doubt. Because when you think about it, like that was so much press coverage.
And
also, like major story, the fact that it's getting banned. Also major story, the fact that it's just back all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So I do wonder how much it helped TikTok.
I want to hear your emotions about it, because when I first heard it was getting deleted, I was excited.
Yeah, I was like, good.
And
finally.
Then right when I logged on to post a short, or a TikTok, I saw the little thing and it said I couldn't use it.
Yeah.
And there was actually a feeling in me of like, oh, dude, I'm actually getting a lot out of TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Because like every time I post a little, I just do like the most cookie cutter music promo TikToks out there.
So you did the Subway Surfers one. Yeah.
That one wasn't that successful. But
just trying it out.
See, that's the thing about me is like I'm really not taking it seriously at all. Like I don't go on there and check and like actually get on TikTok. I just every morning I post on TikTok, YouTube, Insta, just the same exact things.
Same.
But like those always get like 800 views, and every single post I get like 10 new followers, and it directly translates to Spotify listeners, which is so huge. And a lot of it directly translates to followers, which followers are difficult to get on Spotify.
Yeah, totally.
So like I was getting a lot out of TikTok, and when I logged on there and I couldn't get on, I was like, oh wait, this actually kind of sucks. Like I was looking forward to not having to deal with, because I just am not the biggest fan of TikTok.
Yeah.
But then I was like, wow, TikTok was actually helping me out.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think you and I are not getting out of TikTok what other people get out of TikTok. We're getting an actual benefit because people are viewing our content and we're using it for purposes that are meaningful. And a lot of people just scroll mindlessly and endlessly, and it just kind of rots their brain out of their head. And I think for that case, I am super pro TikTok being banned, because I think it has done insurmountable damage to our society.
Yeah.
And our attention spans and just the way we consume content and information overall. However, it's been nice being able to get people to, listen to our music and go to our other stuff or whatever. For me, it's really not the most beneficial. It's just another platform for like people to see me.
Yeah.
But honestly, half of the comments on there anyways are like, oh, I watch your YouTube videos. It's nice to see you on TikTok. And it's like, okay, well, they just already know me anyways.
I get comments like that too.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, you helped me like mix my vocals.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't really think it's providing so much benefit to me to where I would be missing out from not having it.
Mhm.
I also just was pretty pro it being banned anyways, because also the thing is, if TikTok is banned, something else will take its place anyways. So it's not really
exactly
a big deal anyways.
Yeah, like I might have lost some exposure on TikTok, but like my reels would start performing more and my shorts would start
People would just
more.
move to a different platform.
Yeah.
So it's like all of those viewers and views that you would have on there would just probably move somewhere else anyways. They'd move to Xiaohongshu.
Yeah, you were saying that earlier.
Yeah, I wonder what's gonna happen with that.
Dude, I bet the CEO of Xiaohongshu was like super excited
He's
right
like,
when it got
finally,
banned.
man,
Yeah.
finally.
Like he saw 200 people download it right when the ban happened, and then it just stopped. He's like, "What happened?"
Yeah, that's probably hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is.
I want to know. Let us know. Do y'all post on TikTok or do y'all just like scroll?
Yeah, I'm curious
because it's really helpful. You know, if you want to promote your music, it can be helpful, especially if you're not putting your music out or posting content in the first place. Like TikTok is just so easy to do. You know, and sorry to interrupt, but the thing about music, so many artists have blown up on TikTok.
Totally,
like
big
TikTok
time.
is the app for music independent artists.
Yeah.
So you should definitely get on it. Now, if it totally ruins your love for music, you should get off it. But
yeah, true. It definitely became the kind of deciding factor in what music becomes popular now. Because if it gets popular on TikTok, then immediately it's getting added to like all the Rap Caviar and all those other stupid Spotify playlists. So I think that was a huge thing. And also, I think the one thing I will say that was a benefit of TikTok is that it kind of reignited the idea that anybody can make content.
Yeah.
Because the early days of YouTube were kind of that as well. It was kind of pioneering the idea that anybody can make videos, anybody can make content. And then that kind of died out for a while.
Once people started getting more like business savvy and corporate on YouTube.
Totally, exactly. And also there started just being massive channels to where you're like, I could never catch up to PewDiePie or like T-Series or whatever channels that are massive. So the fact that TikTok came about and it was like, dude, anybody can upload any video and it could go viral totally randomly, gave everybody kind of some hope to be like, oh, I could do this stuff. And I'm sure, without a doubt, there's a lot of people that would not have became influencers without TikTok. There's a lot of people that I follow, fitness influencers and health people like that, who only got popular because of TikTok. And I'm glad that they did, because I enjoy following them on Instagram and all that stuff. But that's the thing, I don't follow them on TikTok anyway.
Yeah.
So I think if you have talent as an influencer, you're going to be popular on whatever platform is, the one that people use. So,
yeah, I remember when artists, like just random people, would blow up on TikTok when TikTok first started getting steam, and this was before everybody was on TikTok. So. We were talking about Noah Kahan earlier. His whole career like basically started on TikTok. That's kind of a lie, and I bet he hates people saying that. You know,
just absolute slander right there. He would be nothing without TikTok.
No, I don't know.
There's a lot of artists like that though. I mean, Steve Lacy was a big one too. Like
that's what I'm saying.
He probably hates it as well, but
countless.
So many of his songs blew up because of TikTok.
The Beatles.
Yeah, the Beatles. Led Zeppelin.
I heard about Led Zeppelin.
Where would
and
they
the
be
Beatles
without TikTok, man? Imagine.
It was a trending sped up nightcore remix of the Beatles.
Just the worst type of human ever. Discovers all this music.
This was on TikTok.
This is a TikTok song. Imagine.
Yellow Submarine.
Yeah.
This is a TikTok song.
You're around like your dad's like cool friends and you go, oh yeah, this is a TikTok song. They just all look at you with absolute disgust.
Yeah. No, but Noah Kahan definitely blew up on TikTok. It like Stick Season, we were talking about Stick Season. Stick Season totally blew up because of his presence on TikTok. And that was kind of before everybody started getting on TikTok. And then every mainstream artist was like, whoa.
Yeah.
There's a lot of power on this app. So then everybody started getting on TikTok. But it just turned into a thing where like trending sounds, like I hate the whole thing about trending sounds. And that, I think that's totally changed the way pop music is made now. Cause like all pop, I mean, you could make this argument that was always pop. And like, if you think of like, old rock bands would have always hated pop bands because they like always start with the chorus. And that's not really a new thing, but I think trending sounds have kind of influenced the way pop songs are made now.
Totally.
Of like, okay, when's like, that's the thing that record labels say a lot is like, this is a good song, but where's the 6-second snippet that we're going to get that trending audio from?
Which is insane. It's funny because it was kind of like you're saying, it was always like that, where pop music was so focused heavily on the chorus and the catchy part of the song. But now it's not even just the chorus, it's the part right before the chorus leading into the first 5 seconds of the chorus. And so that's the, super big emphasis on everybody when they're making music now, which is just so weird and such a strange way to consume music, I think. But I don't know. That's why I think it's bad for, society as a whole, because it's definitely kind of ruined music in that sense. But I don't know, you just kind of have to adapt. And there's always going to be people who are, the way that we are, where we are kind of like, okay, that's just dumb. I want to listen to like actual music. So
the funny thing is like I feel this way, and I've made this vocally about like my dislike for all these things about TikTok, but I'm kind of fueling the fire. I'm like on day 30 of posting my song every day. It's like I'm posting the same
looking
thing.
For the best part that's the most click-worthy.
Exactly. I'm posting every day and I'm adding to it because I think it's just so, it has so much potential for independent artists that it's pretty dumb to overlook it and think you're like better than it. Yeah. Especially as an independent artist. We talked about this on the last podcast, but you have to be your own marketing.
Right.
Yeah. You have to be your own marketer. Right. You have to be your own, A&R if you want to be an independent artist. And if you want to be a successful one, you have to take marketing seriously. And TikTok, even with huge record labels, TikTok is a huge portion of that, which is crazy to think about, that this one app that anybody can get on is such a big part of music promotion.
Right. And anybody can blow up at any point in time. There's producers who just post their beats on there and some random beat blows up and they have a record deal after that. And that's the thing that kind of is, wow, there's hope, like I could just upload a video of my beats and it could blow up, you never know.
Yeah, every time you press post, you're like, this could be the one.
Right, which that's how the feeling that I used to get from doing YouTube videos, where it's like, it's one of these videos is going to be the one. Same with TikTok, a lot of people are like, this video is going to be the one. And even when I first started using TikTok, just uploading stupid videos, not even trying to do it for my, brand or YouTube or anything like that, I was like, oh, this video could blow up, it's a really funny video. Because I remember making a couple videos with Cyrusson or doing a video with Logan here and there. And we were like, okay, these are funny. Like, people are going to watch these. And I think the thing is, like what you're saying, I compare it kind of to Vine, because Vine also had that like viral video potential where anybody could upload something. And if it's funny enough in those 6 seconds, it's going to go viral and everybody's going to know about it. Same thing as with TikTok. But the thing is, TikTok offers that potential for artists to share things in the way that Vine didn't, because you can't really share much of a song in 6 seconds or get people to get much attachment to it. But in 15 seconds, 30 seconds, you can preview a good amount of that song for people to be like, I want to hear more of this. So it unlocked a lot more possibilities than Vine had. And I don't even know, do you know why Vine went down? Because it was so popular, and then it just was like, there was a couple months where it just seemed so dead, and it was only ads, and it was a whole bunch of just garbage content, and then it just was gone.
Yeah, I think that was like like that was before YouTube became the standard for AdSense, or I'm trying like paying creators. Like that was like, you couldn't even really make money on YouTube. So I think if Vine came out once the whole creator economy, because the creator economy is huge now. But back then it was like you couldn't even really get paid on YouTube. So obviously something like that, because there were no ads between the Vines. There was no TikTok shop. That's another thing that
man.
Dude, I remember
every other video is a TikTok shop.
I remember re-downloading TikTok when I was like, okay, I need to start posting some videos about my music. So I re-downloaded it. Every single thing on my homepage, because when I used to have TikTok, I used to use it quite a bit, and I had a good feed of like, it was just all music stuff, but it was like creators that I followed. I delete it for like maybe half a year, re-download it. Every single video is a TikTok shop video. And to the point where there were some times where I was like, do I need a water flosser? This is kind of sick. It's only $12.
That's dope. I think I need this footstool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I've noticed that too, and it's so bizarre how every single video is some sort of sponsored video of some kind, and it's because it's so well integrated with the videos.
The little tiny thing that says this is sponsored, you can barely notice it.
Exactly. It's pretty unreal. The fact that most of what you're being fed is ads at this point is pretty dystopian in a way. It's very strange. And also the thing that I noticed, because I don't use TikTok really at all, like ever. If people send me stuff, I'll watch the TikToks. That's really part of the reason I even have it, is because like if Eric sends me stuff, I'll watch it on there. But
I mean, dude, you get views on TikTok.
Well, that's the thing, and also because I upload on there. But those are really the two reasons I have it, but I don't use it at all. I noticed after the ban that like I scrolled through my feed, it was all the most like sexualized content ever.
Really?
Yeah, it was so weird because normally my content that like if I do scroll here and there, it'll be like music stuff. It'll be music stuff, or it'll be like whatever kind of random thing I'm into, because it just taps into your data. And it's like if I'm interested in like I'm watching a couple skateboarding videos on YouTube, it's like skateboarding content on there, or like thrifting content or whatever.
I think that was the whole like reason they went to Supreme Court.
Yeah, exactly. And now they're like, well, now we don't have your data anymore, so here's some boobs. You guys like these, right?
Is that really what it was?
Yeah, genuinely. It was all just like people talking about like sex and just random like just chicks with no clothes on. I mean, it's just insane. Which people talk about how much of TikTok that is and like how like over sexualized it is. But I just couldn't believe it. I was like,
I mean, I remember when it first started popping off, it was just girls dancing.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe it just like defaulted back to like the default settings or whatever. But yeah, that was really bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, that's one way if you want to nullify the crowd.
Yeah.
You just send them a bunch of sexualized content.
100%. I mean, that's what they've done so hard with all of social media, is over-sexualize everything so that people are a bunch of zombies for all this, I mean, sex sells, that's what they say, and it's very valid because people will click on anything if you have some sort of sexual image in the little thumbnail. And then from that point on, you kind of have their attention and you'll be like, all right, now go buy my course or whatever the case would be. Anyways.
A pretty dystopian there.
Yeah. I mean, we're living in a fucking dystopian world.
Yeah,
dude.
it's
all the AI
weird.
stuff too. That's pretty crazy. Did you see the, you might have not seen it, but Travis Scott performed at the Notre Dame Ohio State game. And he was on top of the stadium. So like it was the Mercedes-Benz Stadium where I think it's open top stadium. He was performing on like a corner of the stadium, and there was just a bunch of like band people down in the field.
Yeah.
And then he was just surrounded by like drones and like helicopters and shit.
I didn't see that.
It was crazy.
I turned it off during halftime. I totally forgot that he performed at halftime.
He performed one song that was actually televised. Me and Caleb were like, dude, I hope you like performed more songs for those people who are expecting Travis Scott.
Yeah.
And I thought he was going to be in the middle of the field or whatever, do their whole thing where they set up a stage and whatnot. Nope, he's just on top of the stadium like Batman.
That's
just performing
crazy.
It's pretty wild.
Batman post, remember?
Yeah.
Batman.
That was so funny.
He actually is just a huge Batman nerd.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I could perform 3 songs like on a stage, or I could be Widowy Batman.
I could Widowy be Batman surrounded by drones.
Is there any way I could actually like get on top of the stadium?
Like, sure, man. Here's $1.5 million. Yeah, I mean,
that's crazy, dude. That just totally left my mind that he did the halftime show. I need to look back. I'm excited for Kendrick to do Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I think that'll be cool.
That'll be sick. I'm sure he'll perform some of his. What did you think of that album of his? We're just going on a whole tangent of just.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked a few of the songs. Production is always cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I liked his the album before that.
Humble Mr. Morale and the Big.
Yeah. I like that album. That was a lot more smooth, I think.
Yeah, I liked a lot more songs on that, I think.
Yeah.
This vibe is cool too.
Yeah. I'm a fan of Kendrick. He was never like a huge inspiration of mine. I think Drake early on, he kind of got me into rap. But now Drake's defeated, so I can't really be a fan of him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude, the whole beef thing is crazy. Yeah. Just like straight up 40-year-old men just, making poems about each other, making angry poems about each other. I
saw a post where it was like, the internet tells you lies, and it was a video of J. Cole, and he like sold out a huge stadium, and it looked like just a super fun concert. And it's like, people will think that like somebody beats somebody in some kind of beef and it ruins their career, but everyone's benefiting from it.
Exactly.
And it's like, dude, like Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole, you can't really, not to say you can't cancel them, but you can't really end their careers. They have like ruled the rap game for so long.
Totally. And that's the thing. The general idea is that if a lot of people are talking about something, you can guarantee that there's somebody out there benefiting from that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the most of the time the people you're talking about are the ones benefiting from it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times they say no publicity is bad publicity, which I think there is some bad publicity for sure, but there's a lot of people who have bad publicity and come back perfectly fine from it. So a lot of it is totally just organized. Like they know what they're doing.
I will say I think it definitely was not beneficial for Drake.
Yeah.
I think but
people are still listening to his music.
That's what I'm saying. Or that's just because I'm just, normal. I'm just one person in the crowd that's like, yeah, Drake got bodied. You know, like we're literally talking about the Drake beef. Like we are those people being like, so true. Drake's career's over. But he's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a huge Kendrick fan anymore. Honestly, I'm not really a huge fan of any of them anymore. Mm-hmm. I was definitely a bigger fan of all of their earlier stuff. Obviously, J. Cole's earlier albums were incredible. Drake's earliest albums were incredible. Same with Kendrick. Yeah, that album is incredible.
2014. His legs look like noodles.
Honestly, I didn't even recognize it at first. I was like, what the?
Yeah, you're like, what is that painting?
What the hell, man? Yeah, but that album is incredible. Also, Kendrick definitely, some of his really earliest stuff definitely inspired me a lot. Like Section 80, that album is one of my favorite albums ever.
Really?
Yeah, Good Kid, Mad City is also really good, but I think it's a little overhyped for what it is. Like a lot of people really, really
Have you been listening to rap recently?
I honestly not like new rap. You're talking about like new rap?
Yeah, or just like, listening to Kendrick and Drake and stuff.
Not really very often, but every once in a while when I'm in the gym, I'll listen to I have a playlist of some rap music and I'll flip that on if I'm not feeling like the, know, Creed and, Nirvana playlist that I've got.
I'm gonna die.
Yeah, exactly. Just like benching, like trying to kill myself. Squatting like 400 pounds knowing I can't do it and then just letting it crush me. Yeah, no. If I ever get bored of my normal playlist, I'll listen to some rap, but the majority of it is songs that I know I like. So I haven't really, I can't really say that I've explored any new rap that's coming out or anything.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways.
I like how I'm having this discussion. And like rap definitely influenced me, and I used to be a huge rap fan, but I'm over here like talking about Drake and Kendrick, and I'm listening to Lizzie McAlpine.
Yeah. That's so true. It's all that's the thing. I didn't really care much about any of the beef or any of the I don't really care that much about any of the new music that they drop. I'll listen here and there, but it's just not what I listen to, so I can't really say much about it, anymore at this point, which I feel like an old curmudgeon saying that, because I definitely did used to listen to rap music all the time. That used to be exclusively what I listened to.
Yeah, same.
But times have changed. I grew up, guys. I started listening to real music.
Real music. Little sad songs about breakups.
I started listening to music with guitars and drums and stuff. That's
started
real
listening
music.
to soft female vocals whispering into my ears. Real man.
Yeah, guys, I grew up. I started listening to Clairo, okay? Anyways, so I don't know what we were talking about, TikTok or something, but
something like that.
Hopefully it gets banned.
Bro, every podcast we do, we're like, let's try to get as many questions in, because we're not going to be able to talk about anything. We've just found a way to talk about not absolute nonsense. This is important, guys. Y'all are enjoying this. We're important people.
Yeah.
They should definitely listen to all of our opinions.
Yeah, we're so important.
So important.
And anything that we say, you should take it as the word of God.
Yeah.
And follow it blindly.
And we're like, what? Like young 20s? We know everything.
Yeah. That's some of the questions they ask us. They think that we know everything.
It's true. Let's get into the questions.
Yeah, speaking of questions.
We got a question from the Stud Muffin 11.
Yes.
Great name. And they say, what is the best marketing advice for artists just starting out?
The best marketing advice, if you're just starting out, you probably should not be worried about marketing advice. I won't lie to you. I think you should just be worried about having fun making music, because the thing is, the one thing that people say a lot is that you can't just make good music and people are going to find it now, which is very true, because we're in such a attention currency society where you have to get eyes and ears on your music to get popular. So even if you make amazing music, it's not going to matter. That's very true. But also there is a ceiling where it's like you have to kind of make good enough music for people to actually listen to it. And chances are, if you're just first starting out, your music is nowhere near the level it needs to be for people to actually become attached to it and listen to it and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, the thing is, it's not even just about your music being bad or per se, or not being good enough or up to par or whatever. It's more about the fact that you haven't exercised your skills to a point enough where you can express yourself in the fullest potential.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the thing. That's when you're able to express yourself and able to use your skills to express yourself in the right way. That's when people get attached to your music and follow you and like you as an artist. But when you don't really have that and it just kind of sounds lifeless and you're not really able to express your emotions and feelings in the full capacity of what you'll be able to in like 2 years from now, it's not going to garner as much attention and, success as otherwise.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So yeah, I wouldn't focus on it. I would just focus on having fun immediately.
Or you could spend 80% of your time on TikTok.
Yeah.
And then 20% making music.
Which, that is also a valid thing as well.
And people have done that.
Yeah. If you genuinely because I don't know, my mindset is that I do not think that music and art should be about monetizing it first before just making the art. I think that it should be about just making the art and then monetizing it afterwards. However, if you are of the idea that like I'm going to make money off of art, which I hate to tell you, but wrong industry if you think you're making money is, your first priority. It's like, dude, go be a lawyer or something.
Not even that. Literally do anything else.
Yeah, do anything else. You're in the worst possible industry if you want to make money. But if that is your mindset, then sure, just mass produce TikToks and, figure out the formula for what works the best. But even when you look at those videos, this is a perfect example. Those videos where people are like, I'm going to turn my friend into an artist in 1 month or whatever, where I made a fake artist to, see if I could blow up, to see if it's easy to blow up on TikTok or whatever. Every single time they fail.
Yeah.
Every time the video fails. So it takes time and consistency, and you're not going to just do it overnight. So with whatever you do, whatever method you do, be consistent with it, I think, is the main thing. Because if you have 3 videos that are out, you could make 3 of the greatest videos ever, but it just might not hit the algorithm the right way. People might not pick it up. But if you have, mediocre videos, but you have 700 of them, that's going to give you much more views than just putting all your eggs in one basket and focusing on 3 amazing videos,
Yeah.
But also make the amazing videos too. I think quantity and quality.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think thinking of your art and your music as a product is just never really the way to think of it as. Now, if that is the way you think about your art, then there are people who've done that, and you could get successful relatively. Because if you take marketing seriously, which we don't, but if you do, you could do some numbers.
Yeah.
But the thing is like if you take that seriously at the start, and maybe you're not that proficient in production and songwriting, and like you said, really honing your craft and understanding how to get your message across, because that's all art is, then maybe you just take a long time to make a song because you're not that proficient in those things, and then you spend a lot of time on the marketing because you take it very seriously at this early stage. Let's say you do blow up. You could. If you blow up, you could get signed by a record label, and then you could have them do all of those things. But then I feel like you would feel
you'd have some imposter syndrome.
You'd have imposter syndrome, and then also every time you go into the studio, you just wouldn't be that knowledgeable on how to really get your idea across.
Yeah,
you couldn't be confident in the studio, being like, "Okay, this sounds good, but let's actually have this die down a little bit. Could you like muffle those pianos, and could you do this one thing?"
Yeah.
So if you have a background of production, and you don't even have to be a producer, if you just have a background of making a lot of music, and being confident in yourself, then that's just so much better. Spending the time making the music first, then once you get to that point of being confident in your ability to express your emotions, and somewhat get your idea across, because even I struggle with that.
Right.
Well, even I've only been producing and making music for
even
5 years.
The greatest musician of all time, struggles with that.
Yeah, but like, I've spent 5 years doing this, and I still struggle with that a lot. Like, I can't get it there, but I am confident in the fact that I can get an emotion across through sound waves.
Yeah,
and I haven't taken music marketing that seriously. So like, it is a give and a take. Give and a take.
It's a give and a take.
It's a give and a take.
It's a give and a take. But I mean, honestly, do you really want to be the artist who gets signed to a label and then just has everybody do everything for you? Like somebody writes your song, somebody produces for you. All you do is just go in the studio. Maybe you don't even deliver a good performance. Like maybe you're not even really that talented at singing or whatever. Mm-hmm. They just auto-tune your vocals, make it all sound good, use Melodyne and everything. Then they market it all for you, and you just basically do nothing besides like be the face. Yeah. It's just, I feel like nobody is going to feel fulfilled doing that, even if you're famous, or even if that's what you are seeking, which is kind of like just a goofy thing to be searching for anyways, to like want to just be famous only. Yeah. But I think you're going to have imposter syndrome, and you're going to feel like, wow, I didn't actually do any of this. If you just blow up and haven't honed your skills yet, to where, if somebody who, has been working for 8, 9, 10 years, and then they blow up, they're like, okay, I've earned this, I feel like, otherwise you're not going to feel like you've earned it.
I think it's also you and I, we desire fame. Like back then I desired fame a lot because I just wanted to be famous. Like when I first started doing YouTube channels. But even then, not so much. I've always mainly just wanted fame because it would allow me to just work on music 100%. And I think that's a better way to chase fame.
Yeah.
Instead of, like you said, just being famous for the sole purpose of being famous. Because I don't even think being famous would be that fun, other than the fact that I would be able to make enough money to just make art my whole life.
I think it's more about the money at that point. More about financial freedom than about the fame anyways.
Yeah.
I think the fame is cool because it allows you to work with people you wouldn't otherwise be able to. Because when you have a certain level of fame, it also just kind of naturally comes with a certain level of respect, naturally. Just in our society, that's the way it works. Even if that's kind of weird, and like when you say it out loud, it sounds kind of like just not good. But that's just kind of the way it is. Like if Travis Scott, hits you up, you're like, even if you don't make some music, he's like, hey, I want to work with you. You're like, yeah, dude, of course.
Yeah.
Just because you're famous. And it's kind of messed up as that is, and that's kind of why LA is like, just people despise it, because everybody's chasing like being famous and like, I want to like climb the ladder and go to the next famous person. It does earn you a certain level of respect. So I think that's the cool thing about, being famous, is you're able to work with people you would, if you pay them to, get a feature, whatever, that's not the same thing, You're not going to be passionate about, pay the feature that you got from Travis Scott that was paid for,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
also a little bit of fame that would be enjoyable is like knowing that people are going to listen to this.
Yeah,
because that is a good feeling as an artist, being like, I really poured my soul into this song,
right? And
I really am getting this message across that I'm trying to share, and then putting it out there and having people give you feedback of like, whoa, this really touched me. Like this is exactly what I'm feeling. It's like having that is a nice feeling, rather than just dropping songs and literally nobody listens.
Yeah, exactly. That's a huge point too. I think there's definitely a lot of good things that come with people. Fame just sounds like such a stupid word to say, but like with people knowing who you are, and people, having like a following, I guess.
Yeah, mainly just taking your art seriously.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things that come with having a following. And I think for me, one of the things that I really enjoy about it, or one of the things that I've always felt drawn to, is being able to be kind of like a leader for people. That for me has always been something that I have looked for, because I want to be able to, not just like be like a cult leader, like brainwash everybody to watch my content, but be able to like kind of share my values with people, and people be like, yeah, right on, man.
Positively.
This is dope. And kind of make like a positive impact. And that is, I think, is the cool thing about people knowing who you are, because you can actually make a good impact if you use that, asset correctly.
For sure. Yeah. I haven't even thought of that, but that was actually a huge reason why I started getting into YouTube too. Yeah. It's like building a following. I always wanted to build like this little small pocket on the internet that was like really positive.
Yeah.
You know, and that like people could feel safe coming into, and
totally.
Because it is really intimidating when you first started getting into production, like going on Reddit and being like, hey, how do I adjust the volume of this track?
Yeah.
And then you just get 80 people being like, you should never make music ever again.
Exactly.
It's like providing that for people is always a desire of mine.
Yeah.
To like have people come in and be like, hey, I don't know where the fader is. And people are like, hey man, let me help you out.
Right.
Like that's really cool, is to just create that from scratch and have that be there. But
that's really a good point too, especially in a space where there's a lot of people who are not very welcoming. There's a lot of spaces like that on the internet where a lot of people just gatekeep and they shut anybody out who's not like an expert.
Yeah.
And that's just not the way to be. I think it's just important to be inclusive of everybody and be helpful and be kind to everybody, and being able to be the guy who has this following and you're like, hey man, no, we don't, dog on people around here. Like, we're chill with everybody.
Yeah.
So being able to kind of lead people in the right direction, I think, is an important thing to use your influence for.
Yeah.
Because if you're not using it for that, I think you're doing a disservice to the people who do follow you.
I think that's the passion of like the kind of the heart and soul of YouTube as well, as like you said, not gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Like people posting videos of, this is how you mix and master.
Yeah.
And like, you don't have to go to school for this.
Right.
Let me not gatekeep. This is actually my exact guitar chain.
Right.
Let me not gatekeep. Like, you just posted a mixing and mastering tutorial.
Yeah.
It's like, that's really cool for people who really like your music, seeing exactly what you do.
Yeah.
Because that's always been a thing with music, and I feel like art in general is like, there's always been a little bit of a gatekeeping, especially when it's associated with like high-end society.
Totally.
It's like, you plebs, you could never do this.
Right.
When in reality, it's like, all they really have to do is grab a few paintbrushes and get some paint and feel inspired.
Right, which that's totally a thing with music, is that everybody always thinks that like Kurt Cobain had some access to something that was, otherworldly, some microphone that's super expensive that I need to have or that I can't get if I'm poor or whatever. That wasn't the case. The majority of these people, like, actually I just saw that video. I'm sure you might have seen it too, but it's Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins talking about how he had just such a crappy guitar that every time he didn't play, it would whine. It would make this whining sound. So they made the whine part of the song. And it's so funny because people idolize these big, huge rock star musicians and think that they have something that they don't have. But honestly, they're exactly like you. They are, honestly, some of them even worse off than you were. Like, a lot of them were just straight up completely struggling in their lives. And people think that they got something that they don't. It's just not the case. We're all, at the end of the day, we're all humans, and most people don't have access to anything you don't have access to.
True.
Unless we're like Billie Eilish or something.
Unless our dad does have a.
Unless my dad owns a record label.
They're both really talented.
They're incredibly
talented. Very That
was a bad example.
They deserve, even if they're maybe a little bit of nepotism, they deserve most of it.
Even if there's a little bit of industry plant nepotism.
Billy, I'd love to work with you, especially Phineas too.
Yeah,
I'd love to work with you.
I mean, they deserve everything they've got.
All right, guys, we got a very important question here from Zombie X Leader.
Very important.
What's our favorite superhero?
Batman.
I think I agree. I've always been a Batman guy.
Yeah, he's just the best superhero. Batman's awesome. But I mean, there's obviously a lot of other good ones. When I was younger, it was definitely Spider-Man. When I was younger, I cried when I found out Spider-Man wasn't real.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. My mom broke the news to me and I cried.
I was never really a big Spider-Man guy.
Really?
I would watch Batman like cartoons. I would watch Justice League. I would watch Teen Titans.
Teen Titans.
I loved Robin. Robin was one of my favorites too.
Nightwing for a while was one of my favorites.
Yeah, but I never watched Spider-Man. I never watched like the Spider-Man movies too. I haven't seen like the first.
The Tobey Maguire ones?
Yeah, I haven't really seen those.
Great movies, man. You got to watch those.
I think Batman. When I was young, I used to have. I think my parents talked about it when we were having dinner that one time. But I had those Batman flippers that I swam in the pool.
No.
Did they ever say that?
I don't think so.
Oh, you were gone. You were in Chicago. Yeah, I had these little Batman fins and slippers, and there was like a goggle and a mask. It was like a Batman mask, and every time I went to the pool, I just looked like an absolute freak. But I would like put on all this Batman gear, and I'd be like, I'm going on a mission, and I'd like go underwater and like swim super fast.
It's so funny.
Yeah, I was a huge Batman guy.
Honestly, I think the Justice League superheroes are a lot cooler than the Marvel ones. Not gonna lie to you. I think the Marvel ones are more marketable and they're more like for everybody.
Yeah.
But all of the Justice League superheroes are just so much more badass. Like Martian Manhunter, like Green Arrow. Just they're so cool, man.
I love Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Green Lantern was sick too. Flash, obviously.
Yeah. Flash is sick.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Superman's DC too.
Yeah,
Which Superman's cool. Yeah, he's never really my favorite. He seems like more of a Marvel superhero, to be honest.
Yeah,
he's more of like the superhero and wearing the tights and everything. But
I will say
Iron Man's sick.
That's what I was literally going to bring up. Iron Man. Like Iron Man I feel like Iron Man is more of a DC superhero.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah,
that's very true. And honestly, I feel like Spider-Man's kind of more of a DC superhero too. He could kind of go both ways. I feel like.
Yeah, Marvel's got some good superheroes too, man.
Yeah, it's very true. It's a tough choice, but I think definitely
superheroes are sick.
Superheroes are sick.
The more I talk about this, the more I get a little childlike passion in me coming out.
I'm glad they're all real.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad Spider-Man's real.
I'm glad there's vigilantes out there saving the day.
Yeah. I would watch the superhero movies, and after we'd come out of the theater, I'd be like, I'm literally going to be Batman. I'm going to fight crime. I bet that guy over there is committing a crime. I'm going to go beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, that was totally how I felt after I watched the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. That's a great movie. Did you watch that?
Oh, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Zoe Kravitz is in it frequently, too, which makes it even more incredible. But that's a great movie. And after that, I was like, dude, I could totally do this.
Yeah.
I could totally be Batman.
Yeah. He's just a normal guy who's an actual billionaire.
Yeah.
And has all the gear to do this.
He's just like me, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that's a great movie. But yeah, Batman, I think is my answer.
Yeah, I love all the Christopher Nolan Batmans as well.
Yeah,
Dark Knight, I mean, classic.
Yeah. I think
that's the best superhero movie ever made.
Is that the one? Dark Knight Rises is the one with Joker, right?
Yeah.
Dark Knight is the one with Scarecrow.
Yeah, no, then I'm talking about Dark Knight Rises.
Okay, yeah, Dark Knight Rises.
Scarecrow one's good too.
Yeah, I've never seen Dark Knight Rises fully, but Dark Knight, I saw in the theater when I was a little kid. And it was so unbelievably loud. Like even my mom said, like the theater must have had their speakers like somebody accidentally hit the volume button or something, and it was super
like
loud.
Unwatchable.
She had to like stuff like tissues in my ears because it was so loud, and I was like crying.
That is Christopher Nolan's weird about audio as well.
That could also like
he could
completely be like blasted the audio.
Yeah. So you haven't seen Dark Knight Rises all the way through?
No, I haven't seen it fully.
Really?
Which I've heard it's really good, but I never got around to watching it. I've seen the last one though, the one with Bane. What is that? Dark Knight
Begins.
Yeah, Batman. I don't know. Dark Knight Returns. I don't know. Revenge of the Sith. Whatever.
Batman Revenge of the Sith. Yeah,
that one's good though too.
Yeah, Batman.
I was born in the dark.
Yeah,
Batman.
Classic movie. I watch movies.
Imagine I was like, Beast Boy. Beast Boy's my favorite. He's pretty sick,
dude.
Though.
And when I watched Teen Titans, Beast Boy was one of my favorites too.
I think Cyborg was my favorite though.
Really? Yeah. Cyborg was sick.
Yeah.
We should make a separate podcast for superheroes.
Yeah. I could do a couple episodes about superheroes for sure.
Yeah. Just don't mention that when I hit on women.
Yeah. They're like, oh, what are you doing? I have a superhero podcast. We talk about Marvel versus DC.
No, I do not have a waist called bed, but I do have a podcast about superheroes.
I do not have a waist called bed, but I have a Batman mobile bed. It's pretty fucking cool. I wear my Batman mask to go to sweep. My Batman sweeping mask.
I could totally put tactile when we're walking in the street.
I totally wouldn't let a Wabba shoot you. I would totally beat him up first.
Okay, next question is from Svet. They say, what are some tips for coming up with melodies? Melodies nuts.
These nuts. Melodies nuts.
All right. What are some tips for coming up with melodies?
Just do it, man.
If you're struggling with melodies, you're just not good enough.
Yeah, you should probably quit.
Yeah, I mean,
Just stop making music.
Yep. I think
you just have to do it more, honestly. Because you're gonna. My advice, and I think he even mentioned this in the comment, was just kind of mess around until you get what sounds good. And if you have a good chord progression to start out with, you'll be able to come up with some melodies, and you can also kind of stack melodies. It doesn't have to be just like one like doon 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 melody. It can be like doon 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 doon, and then you layer like a doon 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 doon, and then eventually you have kind of this wall of melodies, and it sounds really cool. That's kind of what I do with a lot of my tracks. And then at different points in the song, you can take out certain melodies to accentuate other ones. So it doesn't have to be necessarily just like chords, melody, drums. You can add more layers of certain things as you need.
Totally. I think also big point. If you are just producing music, I wouldn't focus too much on the melody because you really don't want a prominent melody in your beat because you want your vocalist to do that. I think it's cool if they send you vocals back, then you play along with their melody. But if you have like a really unless it's a guitar solo or some kind of solo of some sort, if you have a very prominent melody, it's going to be difficult for that vocalist to come up with their own melody that's not just following your melody. So I think we're also very self-conscious about our own melodies that we make. We all think they're the simplest things ever. But like when people hear them for the first time, they're like, oh, this is cool. So like understand that and understand that you can make a super simple melody that like maybe even follows the root note of every chord and then you like switch 2 notes up. And like that's a cool melody and that'll add a little bit of variation. And like usually when I make beats, I just move it off to a little side of the track and then have it just be a little ambience and give me some room for vocals. And I think, if you're making instrumental music, I think taking melodies more seriously is important. And that's because you're not going to have a vocalist. So you need to have that melody take center stage. But same thing with coming up with vocal melodies is like, it's just all like, it's such a bad answer being like, it's all just in your soul. But
it just is, though.
But it is, that's what I do, exactly like you do with your guitar. I hear chords and I just start singing along. And I find a melody that way, and that's what I've always done. And I do remember having the feeling of like, oh, melodies are impossible. I can't come up with melodies, and it just took time after time of like trying to write my own music and come up with my own melodies. That you'll get to a point where you'll be producing, you'll be like, oh wait. This would be cool if I had something that went like dun dun dun, and you hear it like innately in the song, and then you're able to add it into the track. So just keep noodling around, keep adding stuff. Your point about layers is so important. Like just add a bunch of melodies, and then even if they're the most simple melodies ever, when they're stacked on top of each other, it'll sound cool. Yeah,
exactly. And that's a good way to just see what works too. Some melodies are just not going to be good. That's the thing with anything. It takes a lot of failing. It takes a lot of trial and error and seeing what you like, what you don't like, and also just getting comfortable. It took me so long. I actually remember, like in my head, I can recall the transition phase on playing guitar to where I would just play notes and just nothing really like made sense to me. But now I'm at the point where, slowly over time, it got to, okay, I know from this note, the next note over is going to be this. And that just is like familiarity with your instrument. You kind of know what the intervals are going to sound like on the guitar, and you know what notes you can go to next. I know I can play certain shapes, certain chord boxes and things like that, and it's going to sound good over what I'm playing. And you got to get more familiar with your instrument. I think that's really the biggest thing, is just get more familiar with the guitar and just play a lot of guitar and learn a lot of songs too, because that's the big thing, is that the melodies in your head, they don't just come from nowhere. They come from every subconscious inspiration that you have from listening to music your whole life. So learn as much songs as you can and sing as many songs as you can and just enjoy music. I think that's a big thing. Just enjoy the music that you like, and eventually the music that you like will start to come out through your own instruments.
Yeah, just keep
doing it.
Messing around. Keep messing around. Have fun. And don't look for a video that says here's how to make melodies. Because then all your melodies will be the same. It'll be like, start with a 3 of the chord and then go to the 1 and then the 5. And do that with every chord. It's like, dude, that's
Honestly, I think melodies are one of the things that you should probably ignore theory on.
Yeah,
like
totally.
chords, I think it's important to learn chord theory, but when it comes to music theory about melodies, you should not be sitting there like, oh, I have to do one of the 3 chords in this triad in order for it to fit within the music theory of the melody. It's like, dude, just do whatever sounds good. Don't worry about anything else. Because when you do that, then like you said, it locks you into a box of now all your melodies sound exactly the same and they all follow like a formula. There shouldn't really be a formula. It should kind of be the same way it is with vocal melodies, is you're expressing what's inside of you and just letting it, come out and be, shown to the world. So I think that's important with guitar as well.
Ignore the theory. I think ignore the theory on everything.
Yeah.
Except for there's a few other things. I saw this thing about Hans Zimmer. He says like, I don't know how to read notation. I don't know how to, I just don't really, Hans Zimmer knows like almost no theory, which that's definitely not true. He definitely, just because he's making music so long, but the fact that he's saying this means that he really values staying uneducated so you have room to be inspired.
Yeah.
Because that's what he says. He says, I feel like there's infinite possibilities with the things that I make. Instead of being like, this is cool, I want to take it here, I'm going to take it to a sharp 7th.
Right.
And that's like going to get me there.
Right.
And that's the only thing that I can do in this situation that's going to work, instead of not really knowing the theory behind it and being like, oh, I hear something, let's try to get there, and just experimenting with a bunch of other stuff, and then it takes you here. Yeah. And then it takes you here. And always having like a little bit of hope in your mind when you're making a song of like, oh, this could be a little bit better if I do this.
Yeah, exactly.
But you just have no clue how to get there.
Right. And knowing that there's something new that you can do. Mm-hmm. That's the cool feeling, is that when you know all the theory and everything and you're super proficient with music theory, you feel like, oh, well, I know where this will go because there's an example of a song that does this type of thing. Or like, I know that this chord progression is super common. But when you don't really know any of that stuff to kind of, be in the back of your mind, reminding you like, oh, somebody's done this before. Radiohead's probably done the same chord progression. You don't have to worry about that. You're like, this is something new that I'm doing. Yeah. It's exciting, And I think that's part of what makes music even worth doing, is the fun and exciting, aspect of it.
I'm thinking of the Berkeley video.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, next question. We got Zombie X Leader and Normie. They are asking the same questions. What are some instruments that we want to learn and incorporate in our music?
The French horn. No,
why are you lying, man? We don't do that around here.
I knew from your look you were like, "Are you serious?" That was that was the next question coming out of your mouth. Yeah. No, my real answer, cello.
Oh yeah.
And just any stringed instrument, honestly, would be so sick. Mm-hmm. Just being able to do viola. Mm-hmm. I think viola is actually cooler than violin because it's a little bit deeper sound. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of the in between area of the strings.
Yeah.
So I think viola would be very cool. And I think cello would be very cool. When I was younger, I wanted to play stand-up bass in band. When they bring all the little third graders in, and I was dead set on playing bass. And then they handed me the oboe, and I did a couple notes in the oboe, and I was like, "Yep, that's it. I'm gonna play the oboe." And I didn't test any other instruments at all.
That's cool.
That was the first one I got, and then I quit. I think I probably talked about this before on the podcast, but then I quit after like a year because the practices were always after school. And it was like during summer, and I always just wanted to play outside instead of be inside playing the oboe, so I quit.
Yeah, upright bass, especially after the Farmer Greg concert. Like upright bass is so sick.
It'd be so sick, man.
Yeah, mine's definitely banjo. I've been just scouring Marketplace it's been like 8 months
now. For some reason, there's
Mm-hmm.
not a whole lot of them.
Yeah, man, I want a banjo so freaking bad.
Banjo's up there for me too.
The mandolin kind of satisfied a little bit of that desire.
Yeah.
But
the itch is still there though.
I thought it'd be a little more similar to the sound that I was looking for, but it's just that the sound is a banjo.
Yeah.
And I don't have one.
Very true. I would really love to play banjo as well. That would be definitely one. Banjo, cello, being able to play flute would also be very cool. I would love to use a flute in my tracks, because when I went to the Men I Trust concert, Tops was the opener, and she just randomly, one of the songs, busted out a crazy flute solo, and I was like, that's the coolest thing ever.
I want to get proficient in harmonica as well.
Yeah.
But
be able to have the harmonica actually sound good. For some reason, it never sounds good when I try to record it, ever.
I recorded it for one of my songs.
It sounded good. The one that you played, I remember it sounded good.
And it kind of worked. But I want to get to the point where, because when I went to Tulsa to see Gregory Allen, his opener was Lee Followbeck, who's also a really cool artist, and he was just rocking like full Bob Dylan, just guitar, and then the harmonica that sits right here.
Yeah.
So he played, sang, and then once it got to the instrumental chorus, he'd just rip like a crazy melody on the harmonica. And I think that's like always been one of the coolest things to like hear and see for me.
Yeah.
Because I've also just kind of grown up on that kind of like folk, really kind of raw music.
Totally.
But harmonica is so difficult not to just be the most annoying instrument ever.
Yeah.
So like you have to get good with it.
Yeah, totally. I think another one that I think of is lap steel, like the pedal steel.
Getting good with that.
Yeah.
Because like anybody who plays guitar can just do.
Right.
But once you do like playing chords and like shaping it to where you do that, once you add this, where you go like horizontally, that's when you unlock the next level.
Yeah, and doing it with the pedal too that's the way to do it. Because when you just get the normal sound, it sounds good, but it's nothing like that volume swell that you get at the beginning with the pedal, and that would be really awesome to get good at. So that's one. I can't really think of anything else.
Clarinet. I want to get good with. I think that's my favorite woodwind. You have one?
I do. It doesn't work very well.
Yeah, it doesn't work very well though. But I'd love to.
One note out of it. I guess.
Yeah, it worked for that one song you had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you drop that?
No, that's part of the album. Yeah.
Coming out of
Visa. I saw there was like 3 people listening to Hiatus at one time, and I was like, yes, this is
badass, man.
Which is so funny because it's like, it's crazy to think about. Like 3 people are actually sitting there like listening to your song at any given time.
So. No, that's a cool feeling, man.
Totally.
Shouts out those 3 people.
Yeah, shout out to those 3 people. Leave us some music.
Yeah, we actually can see your address.
Yeah.
Whenever you're listening. So
yeah, it shares your address. So we're gonna send you a personalized thank you note for listening to the song. Yeah. We're actually gonna come to your house.
Yeah, I think it'd be better if we knock on the door.
Yeah, we'll meet your mom.
Yeah. Next question from Cheesus says, "Do you ever feel held back by your own abilities?"
I feel held back sometimes by other human beings. They literally grab me and hold me. So they say, don't make music. Mm-hmm. And then I just lay around writhing on the ground like, get out of my head, get out of my head. So something... Sometimes that'll happen. Yeah. Do you get that too?
Yeah, or sometimes...
Does that happen to you?
I'm like trying to like get out of like the car door and the cop says, stay in there!
Yeah. Put your hands in the car. So get on the ground now. Man.
Being held back is like a big feeling. I was also held back in school. I was held back a year.
Yeah.
So like I also experienced that.
Yeah, I was held back like 3 times in 10th grade.
That was my parents' choice. That was my own choosings.
Yeah, I just didn't really like school, so I just decided to fail.
Wasn't for me.
Fail every single year 3 times.
Turns out there were more reasons.
I graduated at 22.
The answer is yes, though. We feel held back so much.
That's our final answer. We held back so much. Thanks for watching, guys.
I think this is like the only question Cheesus has up there too.
Yeah,
but I think this is a good answer because we do get held back.
Yeah,
a lot. No, we do. Oh, battery's about to die. But yeah, we do feel held back. I think that's a misconception that like you'll hit a point where you won't ever feel held back musicless.
This is an English podcast. Thank you for joining our English podcast.
And be sure to cop our merch.
Yeah. Just zero brain function. The most ADHD podcast ever. Jump from one topic immediately to another.
LA's on fire.
TikTok got banned recently? What? That was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely to answer your question in a sane manner, definitely we get held back by our abilities sometimes. Yeah. And I think it's just like you were saying, a misconception that